are listening to the Chompcast, the official podcast of Sword Chomp. And remember, you can always go to swordchomp.com, where you can find many places you can access our podcast for download. But if you're listening to the show right now, that means you found us. So welcome to the madness that is the Chompcast. You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/swordchomp if you want to support us financially. We'll talk more about that later. Look for our VIP tier. Baby, come back. We have a very special Chompcast today. A Chompcast filled with longing and desire for past loves of the video game nature, because our topic of the show this week, with help from Chomp Nation and a special guest that I'll get to in a bit, is games that we really want a sequel for, but we just don't think it's going to happen. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We are bringing the polls back for some love. You voted, and we have the results to discuss on topics like hot sauce on eggs, yes or no, the new shark film, The Meg, the IGN plagiarism debacle, which is actually a pretty serious thing, and the new double cheesy gordita crunch, which is an almond I'll talk about later. We have some follow-up thoughts, I'm sure, on a myriad of other games we'll be playing. It's going to be a lovely time. But yeah, baby, come back. Oh, sing it with me, Josh. Baby, come back.
Good.
Want my baby back ribs?
That's our mashup. That's what it's about.
Gotta pay
Baby,
Chili's
come back,
now.
baby.
Hmm.
Now I'm hungry. Delicious. Joshua Fowler is here from Michigan, of course. Josh, I was just trying to find an excuse to get you to sing a little bit. So, Rich, Josh actually finished Dead Cells literally right before the show, just before the show.
Dead Cells is so good, man.
Yeah. Well, I finished it on normal. Well,
It's getting in the way of my current review.
That's still fascinating that a game that brutal has other difficulties.
Yep.
But hey, for the sadists out there, like Josh, do what you can. No, baby, nothing. Okay, well, Rich, come on, maybe Rich, baby, come back. Oh,
You can blame it all on me.
There we go.
Yeah, no, it's a little pitchy there. I'm out of practice. It's been a long time since high school choir.
You know what? We all are.
Mm-hmm.
This, of course, is the one and only Rich Meister, our good friend. He's a Sword Chomp VIP. He is a editor for Destructoid. He is a host of the Cooperative Play podcast. And he's a good friend of ours, and I'm glad you're here today.
Glad to be here in this special episode of Where in the World is Fish?
Where in the world is... Let's bring back all the weird songs.
Yeah, for sure.
Fishy. Yeah, where in
I'm
the
going to have to
world
Photoshop him into a red trench coat.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
please do.
Yes. The Filipino Johnny Depp. Fish is MIA, so if he just shows up in the middle of the show, just
roll with
swinging his micro around in confusion, we're going to let him in and see what happens. We don't know. We just hope he's okay. And it was a weird week, Rich, because Shay is scuba diving right now.
I saw that.
I
saw that.
I put those pictures up on the VIP so people could see him. But yeah, he's out there scuba diving. He's living life. So Fish picked a great week to go MIA on us. So, but you're here to pick up his slack.
Yeah, I'm here to fill the chair. Keep the conversation flowing.
A lot of times you'll see a podcast, it's like if some of the hosts are missing, you're like kind of sad, but not when Rich is here. We're happy because Rich is a very special guest.
Bring it. It's good to be back.
And you have to make up for two people, not just Fish, but Shay. All right, you have to combine
some big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and unfortunately, Fish's case, having big shoes didn't really qualify for anything else in his.
No correlation there.
Yeah, no,
no correlation
it's just freaky
whatsoever. It's odd. Poor guy. And weirdly enough, I did not do this on purpose. I swear to God. But the cheesy gordita crunch thing, I feel like last time you were here we talked about.
We always talk about Taco Bell, which is great.
That's like freak. That's freakish coincidence. That's fate. It's fate. Probably. I didn't know that thing was a real thing until I saw the ad for it the other day, and then I had to go try one because I hate myself.
Yeah, no, I did. I don't deserve to be happy, but I do deserve a cheesy gordita crunch. Taco Bell can use that as an ad if they want to call me.
I don't deserve to be happy, but I do deserve a cheesy gordita crunch.
And the commercial would just be me eating it in my car at 3 a.m.
I can see
isn't
that
happening.
moving some products.
Yeah.
I could. It's a new approach. People
Yeah.
like honesty, you know?
Mhm.
It's like, yeah. Honestly, if happiness isn't eating a cheesy gordita crunch in your car alone at 3 a.m. listening to Kiss from a Rose, then I don't know what it is.
Pulling our weirdly long Batman Forever conversation that happened
Yeah.
before we started recording.
Yeah, I was recording, so maybe if you guys were recording, we could throw that somewhere. But yeah, we had a very delightful conversation about Nicole Kidman gently resting her soft fingers on the bat nipples in Batman Forever, and how I think it actually jolted me into puberty. I think that's what happened. I think at that moment I was rocketed.
It's my sexual
into puberty.
awakening.
Yeah. It's different for everybody. So, anyways, it's gonna be a fun show. Glad you're here, Rich. Glad you're here, Josh. And Fish, if you show up, we'll be happy to have you.
You're in our thoughts.
By the way, yeah, if Fish ends up on a milk carton in the next couple days, then
They still do that?
Seems so funny. I don't know. Do they? That's.
They should put it like on a 40, then I'd notice.
Oh yeah, that's sad but true. That's sad but true. Anyways, so the topic of the week is a pretty interesting one. Our first topic got diverted, so I'm sorry. Rich wanted to talk about BioShock 2 and sequels that he did, or games that he didn't like at first, but he eventually came around on.
I will plug, by the time this is up, there will be a deep dive anniversary piece I wrote on the original BioShock up over on Destructoid.com if you want to read that.
All right.
Okay. Oh, deep dive. I see. Is that an intentional wordplay?
Yeah,
there?
It's underwater.
I will be enraptured by your words.
It's the city from the game. Oh, this is punny.
And I don't even know if I introduced myself. I'm Morgan Barnes from Montana, by the way, aka General Mountain Time. If I did, then that's 2 introductions, and I'll feel bad. But I don't think I did.
I don't believe you did.
Sometimes I forget to do that. But yeah, but a pretty fun topic of the show. The idea is basically sequels that we really want, but we don't think are ever going to happen. And we had a conversation back in the day, Rich, about like games that we wish would be Kickstarter, like sort of like revival Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Dream Kickstarters. But this is different, I think. In many ways, it
Yes.
could apply to that, but I think it's different. So, what was your inspiration for this? Was it the Windjammers thing?
There's a couple of things. Windjammers 2, for one, was definitely part of it. And I also got thinking about Shenmue 3, because I am currently playing the Shenmue remasters, which is an experience to be playing those games again. But yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to think about. Like, and it was such an innocuous, like, I woke up and all of a sudden Windjammers 2 existed. I never thought I would hear those words. There's some very excited Frenchmen. And there's a very big French scene for Windjammers. But yeah. I mean,
which is interesting.
Yeah, it's weird, right? And I mean, the original Windjammers still coming to the Switch, I think next year, or it might be later this year. But
wait, can I just interrupt you and say that
ahead.
I don't know a single thing about Windjammers, never touched it, never seen it.
You should stop the podcast. Just go buy Windjammers.
I don't understand what it is.
Okay, it's a good way to explain Windjammers. It is a very high-speed, competitive, like, I guess, disc-throwing game. It's like fucking combat Frisbee. And it is just, when you know how to play it, like, the volleys get intense, and it is just so fun. And up until that PS4 release last year or earlier this year, it's all a blur at this point, it was almost impossible to find a good place to play that by legal means. It was like suspended off on the Neo Geo somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay,
and it has an incredibly large competitive scene in France.
Okay. Huh. And you're a fan. You enjoy it.
Yes, I was first introduced to Windjammers via one Jeff Gertzman, who got me determined to find a way to play Windjammers, and I fell in love with it instantly.
Okay. Sounds cool. I mean, it sounds intriguing, I guess.
And now there is an easy way to play it, so I'd recommend to anyone. There's even a Vita version.
Wow, okay. And too bad I got rid of my fucking... I've had like 2 Vitas and I got rid of both of them. It makes me feel like a terrible person. But okay, so that inspired it. So is there any, like, so where do we go from here? Is there another game that... so Windjammers inspired, but what is like your dream I don't think the sequel will happen, but this is...
Yeah, there's a few coming to thoughts. For one, more of like a spin-off in a direction, but it's a game that was announced at one point. Not even officially announced, but we knew it was happening and was lost to time. At some point, and we'll bring it back to BioShock, there was a BioShock game being developed for the PlayStation Vita that was rumored to be a tactics game that took place before the fall of Rapture and focused on the Atlas versus Ryan conflict.
But isn't the fall of Rapture like the interesting part of it? Like, I don't...
Well, it focused on the war that led to the fall of Rapture, which I think would be super interesting to have, like, playing these sides against each other of Ryan's guys who are splicing versus Atlas's guys who are splicing. And just, I sort of pictured it as, like, brawls in the more vibrant, less destroyed streets of Rapture.
Yeah.
Almost like a political... That almost sounds like inner political thriller kind of a thing. Different clans and groups
Totally.
and stuff.
And, like, that was so interesting to me. There's not a lot of detail on what it was. Just the word tactics was tossed around and that it was a prequel.
Weird. Huh. Okay. Well, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. And to make a prequel in a whole different kind of game seems... That's probably why it got canned, because it doesn't make any sense.
I think it's interesting just because any way you want to look at it, I think that is a fascinating universe.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing about those kind of games is, like, BioShock was one of the most influential games ever, right? We all love it. But that, a lot of times when you see a game of that magnitude, it gets, like, just spinned out to hell, right? And
BioShock didn't suffer from that, no. We got BioShock 2 is the only thing that takes place in universe. The Burial at Sea expansion for BioShock Infinite also takes place in that same universe. And both of those things are fantastic games. But BioShock 2 I actually appreciate more now after playing through it again. They didn't, I think purposely, Ken Levine at the time didn't let it get out of hand in that sense, and it left a certain mystery about that world, because everything we know about it is still very intriguing.
I'm assuming Ken Levine probably protected that franchise as much as he could, because that was his baby.
I think so too. And I think that BioShock Infinite's ending was sort of the bullet in the foot to the BioShock franchise of, you can't ruin this because I already ruined it.
Well, I like let's put it this way. I don't
ruined is maybe the wrong word. It's leaving that possibility of there's always this world. It takes away the consequence of any game taking place there, which does ruin, like, why have another game then?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It does the whole Dark Tower thing with the whole all universes are connected type mythology.
It's always going to go this way. So
anything you say is in this series, you can theoretically say, oh yeah, sure, it's in this series.
Because it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yes.
Which kind of gives them credit, or not credit, but kind of gives them the freedom to not putting anything else in that
And that's
series.
what I think his intention was, I'm not going to let the IP slip out of my hands and be burned to the ground.
That's so fucked up. I'm going to burn it to the ground for you, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to destroy it before you get the fucking chance.
Yeah. I controversially, I mean, the Ken Levine, or Levine, however you pronounce his last name, he's like one of my most, like, influential people in the industry. Like, for me, I love him to death. Like, he's working on something now that is rumored to deal with the Nemesis system, like inspired by the Nemesis system from the Shadow of Mordor games, which is awesome.
Which is
sounding.
nuts, because I thought we'd be seeing a lot more of that already. And rumors are Assassin's Creed Odyssey actually has something similar in it.
Exactly. So, like, but I just, controversy, I did not get into Infinite that much. I hated that whole plot. One of my frustrating plot lines for me is, like, the parallel universe thing, because I feel like it gives you... I like creative freedom, but I feel like it just gives you too much freedom to just do whatever you want, because you're like, in another universe, anything could be
I agree.
happening.
And I actually, like I said, I replayed BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite in preparation for this piece I wrote, and I actually think Infinite is the weakest game in my head now. And weirdly enough, I think BioShock 2 is the strongest, and I did not like it at the time.